Welcome to the program. I'm Varun Tiwari, and today with me, Krishna and Nathan from Lipin.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So these days, elections going on, a lot of things happening. We want to know what's going on at present.
Well, we've been in government now for about 18 months, so a year and a half, and we've really hit the ground running, especially in this part of the world, Western Sydney. We know that we need a lot more infrastructure, we need to improve our schools, our hospitals, and in that short time we've done a fair bit, but there's obviously a lot more to do, and we're working hard. So
Yeah, look, I think, something that has been of big concern for a lot of people over the last 18 months has been the increasing cost of living and, the difficulty in navigating some of our local infrastructure and things like that. So those are areas that we have been really focused on, especially in terms of improving housing affordability. So those are some really big priorities for our government to make sure that our community here in New South Wales can afford housing, can live affordably, and has access to the infrastructure that we need in order to live fulfilling lives.
And what do you think, according to your strategies, which steps you're taking to do that? How the affordability and the cost living will be go down?
So I think, firstly, in terms of housing affordability, we have really focused on increasing the supply of housing. So we've been working within government to find government land that can be utilised for housing. Firstly, we're also looking at how we can improve the level of housing that is existing in regional areas and also in our towns outside of the Sydney metropolitan area. And the other big thing is how we can increase density closer to public transport and where the infrastructure actually is. So in areas like Nathan's electorate, unfortunately, there's been lots of housing that has gone in over the last 10 years, but not a lot of infrastructure. So we really need to address that gap. And so we're putting a bit of a pause on those areas and increasing density in areas that can actually take on additional population because they have that infrastructure available.
and the other big thing is tolls. So that we know, especially for people out here in Western Sydney, if you want to go to pretty much any other part of Sydney, you've got to jump on the M5 or the M7 or the M4 and the car makes that thing, that's the
PP.
that's the toll company's hand in your pocket. So we've put in place a $60 toll cap
Okay.
per week. So if you use more than $60, it gets capped, and then every quarter you basically claim your rebate. And we're now around to the second quarter. So if you haven't done that already, make sure you jump on the website there and get your money back, because that's money that should be going back into your pocket and addressing cost of living.
So we have to go to register on RTA.
To Service New South Wales, yep, and there'll be under sort of rebates and tolls in there. Otherwise, you can, I'm sure if you get in contact with your local Member of Parliament's office or our website or our Facebook, will be more than happy to give that money back, because that was something we fought very, very hard for during the campaign. And we know that that's a massive, has a massive impact on people, especially in Western Sydney.
So that's really beautiful. And what about your area, Lapinton? So how it's going? Because that's one of the beautiful area building up now these days.
Yeah, it is. It's growing really, really quickly. Lots and lots of houses, but one thing that hasn't kept pace with the housing is infrastructure. So I got elected and I made a number of commitments which we're already working very hard on. The first one is a new high school in Leppington. So in all of Austral, Leppington and Denham Court, all those houses have gone in over the last 5, 6, 7 years. There's not a single public high school in that area. And that's not good enough, but working with Prue Carr, remember the Deputy Premier and the Minister for Education, we're working very, very quickly to make sure that by 2027 there is a new high school there for the people of Leppington. And then there are some other things around, upgrading roads. 15th Avenue in Austral's always been a big issue. I mentioned this in my inaugural speech, but in 1904, the local member, he spoke in Parliament about how bad that road was, and 220 years later we're still talking about it. But I'm happy to say that I've managed to secure $50 million to start that upgrade, and I know that's a big issue for people in my part of the world. So Uh, the builders will build the houses, the community groups, the temples, the gurdwaras, the mosques, they'll build the community, so will the sporting groups, and I'll build the infrastructure. So all three of us working together, we're going to get good things done.
That's really, really beautiful, and you're doing very well, I must say. And what about your experience from the last 3 years? It's totally changed in your life. And so, what is your experience when you are going to the in the Parliament House, and when you are representing all Indians and all others as well? When you are going from that area, so what's the change comes in your life from the last 3 years?
Well, it's certainly been a very big change over the last 18 months. Sometimes I describe it as drinking from a fire hydrant, because you have so much information, different experiences, different things that people need from you that are coming at you at one time. So it's important to just take that little step back and think, okay, I can do things one at a time, and I can try and get through as much as possible. But it's been a really it's been an experience that I've really loved, because it gives you an opportunity to serve your community in a different way, similar to Nathan's experience of there being a lot of gaps within the Leppington area. Liverpool is the fourth oldest settlement in Australia.
Yeah.
So when the British arrived in Australia, they first built Sydney City, then they built Parramatta, then they built Hobart, and then they built Liverpool. So Liverpool has a very long history, not just in terms of as a colonial settlement, but in terms of Aboriginal people, and now as a multicultural community as well. So we have people in Liverpool that speak over 140 different languages, that come from over 120 different parts of the world. And one of the things that most people in my community, if not everyone in our community, will recognize is it's important to have access to opportunity, to improve your life, to progress the next generation. And key to that is education, and key to that is also being able to use that in access to employment as well. And so, we have continued to invest in making Liverpool Hospital the largest hospital in the Southern Hemisphere.
Wow.
Which is obviously extraordinary, but it can't just be a hospital by itself. So something I'm really passionate about is continuing to build on Liverpool, the Liverpool Health and Innovation Precinct. So using the hospital as a base to bring in medical research companies, bring in universities, bring in other stakeholders that can really give a solid basis for education, employment, and for allowing our broader community to really see a future for not just themselves and their children, but for generations to come in Liverpool. Part of the reason why I put my hand up and decided that I wanted to run for Parliament is when I grew up in Liverpool, a lot of the people that I grew up with, they went to other parts of New South Wales, they went to interstate, or they went overseas to access opportunities and employment and different pathways. I'm really passionate about making sure that we can do all of that right here in Liverpool.
That's really beautiful. As we are talking about the new generation, we want to know, you both are very young and passionate, and which new generation wants to come in the politics? They're afraid a little bit. They don't understand what the real politics are. When we're talking about India, these are like a different type of politics. But now here, so people want to come and be like you. Means they want to means like come in the politics. What's tips you want to give to them?
I think be very, very clear about where your morals and where your ethics are. I always say to people, I'd love for people to join the Labor Party, which is my party, but if that's not where your values are, then you're going to be wasting everybody's time, including your own. So have a really good think about how you view the world, and what you think the answer to some of the big questions are, and from there join the party that's most aligned with those values, and then start coming along to meetings and things like that. One of the things that I've really enjoyed, and I offer local students in my area, is that when I'm in Parliament, come in on a Wednesday, which is normally the quietest day, and they get to sit with me, and we do a bit of a tour of Parliament, and We show them around, we take them to events, so they get to sit in question time, and they get to see behind the scenes of what really happens in Parliament. I think a lot of the time, people's perception of Parliament is that question time where both sides are yelling at each other and carrying on, probably worse than the behaviour they see at school. But outside of that, you see a lot of other stuff that happens, how legislation's passed, some of the meetings that might be taking place. So that gives them a real fundamental understanding of what politics actually is, and not what you see on TV. And then from there, they can make a well-informed decision as to whether that's something they want to pursue further. So.
Yeah.
The thing I would add is start getting involved in your local community as well. So, politics is essentially having a say in what is happening in your local community and being able to make a difference so that you can improve the lives of those around you. I'm simplifying it a lot, but in my mind,
That's the first step.
That's what politics is. But nobody starts off as a member of parliament or as a councillor or with a title or with a position. We all start by seeing something that we disagree with, or seeing something that that gives us hope, right? And wanting to become more involved in that. So I would also recommend with your listeners to look at local organisations, whether it's a political party, whether it's a service club, whether it is an environmental group, for example, and start doing. So start taking action on the things that you care about and be involved in the things that you see making a difference around you, and then you can work your way up, because the other element of politics that's really important that people underestimate is it's about relationships.
Yes.
Right? How you engage with the people around you, how you understand what are the issues that are affecting their lives as well, because my life is different to Nathan's, which is different to yours, and it might be different to yours out there as well. And so the things that I find a challenge may be very different to the things that you find a challenge in your life. And so it's by building those relationships and sharing and understanding those concerns and issues that you get a sense of what other people around you think and feel.
Yeah, thank you, Krishna, and thank you, Nathan, for being here in the studio. And before going, what is the message upcoming elections now?
Well, again, I think have a look at what everyone's offering. Have a look at what we've done in 18 short months, and make the decision that's best for your community. We've spoken about the housing crisis. We've spoken about the need for more infrastructure in Western Sydney. I won't need to tell anyone who I'm voting for. I'm voting Labor, big Labor supporter, but we can really work together. Labor at all three levels of government working in one direction and doing really big things for Western Sydney. So.
Yeah.
Well, and I think to add to that, for me, the very fundamental aspect of a democracy is making an informed choice. Right, so take the time. We have local government elections coming up soon. Take the time to read up a little bit about the candidates that are seeking election, whether it's in your ward or in your local council area. Go and meet them, especially local council candidates and local council elections. They're probably the most direct and reachable local representatives that you'll have, and have that conversation, learn about what they stand for, what it is that they want to achieve in your local community, and how you would like to be part of that. And also look at their track, as Nathan said, look at their track record, because politics very famously is known for people that will promise the world and may not necessarily deliver on everything. Now, I can't make those same criticisms of my colleague and myself, which is
we deliver.
Yes, exactly. But in seriousness, it's very much about learning to, break over that fear. You said before that a lot of people might be afraid of politics because of what it might be like in other parts of the world, or it can sometimes be a very uncomfortable experience talking to people about sometimes hard issues.
Especially people are afraid, especially people are taking the stress of their own life, and it's not easy to take the stress of other people's life as well.
That's right.
So that's the one reason as well.
That's right. But I will say this, right? You already take the stress and the concerns of maybe other family members, your neighbors, other members of the community. So why not just build on that and go from there?
Yeah.
and continue to be involved. But fundamental, making an informed choice and try and build those relationships and connect with people so you can make that informed choice.
Yeah, one of the things I've seen people do in the past when I've run for office is they'll, whatever, the 4 or 5 issues that they're very passionate about, they'll put it in an email. They say, I'm Nathan, I live here, I'm very passionate about this, I've got a wife and 2 kids, here's what's important to me, what are you going to do about it? And they'll send each of the candidates an email, and it's very revealing as to who responds. Who responds? If you don't respond, then you're obviously not going to work for me, and B, what your answer is. So, and then how well that answer is articulated, and I guess you really get to see what type of person I'll be as a leader. So, if you can't catch your candidates, or you don't feel comfortable, maybe speaking to them in person, flick the ball an email and see who writes back and see which one has the best answer.
Yeah, and thank you very much, and for coming here in the studio and for your time. And really, you both are doing very good, and we're proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And friends, don't forget it. On 7th of September, voting are starting. So you can go and start give voting before 7th of September. 8th of September, no vote. Then all week voting are going on. So मिलते हैं ब्रेक के बाद. नमस्कार.
Australia's first Indian magazine to have a national reach, Induage is the largest circulated South Asian magazine in Australia with 5 simultaneous editions, 55,000 copies printed monthly, 220,000 readers, largest network of clients, undisputed leader in community news. Induage is circulated in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane and Perth to over 525 outlets. Grab your copy now to get the latest on the community, news from India, Bollywood, music and much more. For more info, log on to www.induage.com.au.